Meeting new people can be a bit like opening doors to unknown worlds. It's exciting, sometimes nerve-wracking, but it's an essential part of life. Whether you're starting a new job, networking, selling, attending a social event, or mingling at a party, making a great first impression and knocking it out of the park is a great confidence booster. But it's also not essential as long as you get it over the line and give yourself another chance to improve on it. In this episode, Lose the Fear and Do Amazing First Impressions Anyway, we will look at the whole ecosystem of first contact with another real live human being. The mental block, the approach and introduce, your opening line, your first impression, and how to do it much, much better. Because initiating conversations may just be the most important part of the whole socializing spectrum. After all, if you're getting it wrong here or avoiding doing it altogether, then nothing else has a chance of happening. If you don't plant a seed in the ground, vibrant flowers can't grow from them. If there's no flowers, then there's nothing for the bees to pollinate. If the bees can't pollinate, there can be no honey or indeed life itself. And despite how bleak the picture can sometimes look for the human race and the way that we treat each other, we still need each other. We all need someone we can call our honey, okay? So how should I initiate my conversation with you today? Should I craft a whole introduction to hook your attention in hopes you will be intrigued enough to stay around for a longer conversation? Oh wait, I'm already doing that. After all, the first question that's going to be on the mind of a person that you're approaching is going to be, what does he or she want? Or should I just approach you with a simple, hi, my name's Richard, and this is the Social Skills Doctor podcast. As those of you that experience anxiety or the anxiety of approaching and initiating conversations with new people will know, and I'm guessing that's everyone, it's not that simple. It can feel like there's an invisible mental wall in the way, right? Accompanied by the little inner voice in your head telling you not to do it and giving you a shopping list of reasons with diagrams as to why not. You won't know what to say after the hello, and in about 7 seconds, they will see that you have nothing going on. Oh, and by the way, here's some flashbacks of what happened last time. That little inner voice can be really powerful, right? So powerful, in fact, it drowns out the other little voice that's strenuously encouraging you to go for it. You may have seen in comedy movies where the main character has a charismatic and compelling little devil on one shoulder, whispering in their ear naughty little, go for it, advice. And then the angel on the other shoulder trying to keep them out of trouble and stop them from doing it. But in the case of our two inner voices, that power dynamic of this little duo seems to have gotten reversed. The devilish voice is still the one telling you to go for it, but now it's the angel with all the power of persuasion to keep you from doing it. She still has your best interests at heart and genuinely wants to protect you from perhaps embarrassing or making a fool of yourself in some way, while the devil knows that this is life and you've got to be in it to win it. There's no good or bad concepts attached to our two opposing inner voices. They're both manifestations of our own brains looking out for our own interests. It's just that their individual approaches tend to cancel each other out. So how do we move beyond this never-ending little drama in our heads and punch and kick our way through the mental wall so we can begin initiating conversations like maestros and put our worries for the rest of the conversation on ice? This question is fairly generalized, so let's begin breaking it down until we get to a credible, usable answer. A few minutes ago, I suggested that everyone gets anxious about approaching and initiating conversations. And while that's true, I believe, there's a scale of anxiety, ranging from the intense anxiety, high-end level that cripples our ability to take action or even get close to the action without aching from a fight or flight adrenaline overload, to the low end, where the anxiety voice is so quiet and relaxed that everyone gets a free pass to act on their impulses. So a more helpful and specific question would be, what's absent or present in the person that lives at the lower end of the anxiety scale, as opposed to the person living at the high end? And here's my suggestion. A low anxiety person has an absence of fear, while having a presence of self-belief and a good self-image. That would mean the higher up you are on the anxiety scale, the lower your self-image. So if you can rebuild your self-image, and by that, I mean to get to a point where you truly like yourself as a person, both inside and out. You're good at what you do. Your inner voice has a positive, encouraging vibe. You're worth it, as the adverts say. Then self-belief will follow. Do you agree? Which would make you feel more confident in an interview? Wearing yesterday's grey trackies or a suit that's every bit as sharp as the interviewer's? One places you beneath the status of the interviewer, makes you feel inferior and leaves a poor impression, while the other makes you look and feel like equals. Question: which would make you feel more confident in an interview, knowing nothing about the company and having no experience related to that company's industry? Or going in, having researched the company and knowing that you're a good candidate for the job and that they would be lucky to have you? No need to answer, it's obvious, right? Initiating conversations with new people are not interviews, but a really good self-image and self-belief will crush the imposter syndrome and completely transform how you perform and the other person's first impression of you. If you've identified that you have a poor self-image, then put yourself down and speak badly of yourself. Then begin working on this today. For those of you that do have a good self-image or are actively working to improve on it, you'll have noticed that the mental barrier either doesn't really exist for you or that it can no longer contain you. Self-belief is a powerful antidote for the fear. After all, what do most of our social fears revolve around? Making a bad impression, saying the wrong thing and looking stupid or naive, not knowing what to say. When you have a good self-image, like who you are, and believe that you bring value, naturally, you don't worry about saying something the other person might disagree with, and being secure in yourself means you'll be just fine if the other person doesn't get an immediate, glowing impression of you. That's their problem, not yours. Unless you actually are in an interview. Look, clearly, building a great self-image is not an overnight fix. There's no instant hacks, especially if you're at the high end of the anxiety scale. And if you are there, it's for a reason. Something pushed you there. Bad experiences that etched themselves onto the inner wall of your mind and divided your inner world. But what brings you back down is finding reasons to like yourself, then giving them a leading role in your life. There's an expression. No doubt you've heard it and maybe even been told it sometime. I certainly have. Pull yourself together. It's another way of saying become self-congruent, or pull those divided parts of your personality back together and into agreement or alignment with itself. One prime example of that will be your little devil and angel. They want the same things for you, i.e. to be liked and respected and to not be hurt. It's just that they have opposite strategies for getting you there. It's so important to approach yourself first before others. Like and be congruent with yourself. Know yourself. When you're at that point, hesitation and dithering is removed and confident decision-making comes in. All of this doesn't mean now putting your life on hold for a year until you're happy with your self-image. It's simply a direction to be moving in while you get on with life. Go to work, climb the corporate ladder, or start your own business. Continue interacting, doing your hobbies, going to the movies. Speaking of the movies, they have provided many moments of entertainment, showing an awkward male character trying to pull the female lead who is inevitably unimpressed or dismissive of their weak or lame openers and one-liners. Or it may be the other way around and the lead male speaks with such clear, clean eloquence and style that you're left with a bereft feeling that this is the impossibly high bar you have to emulate in the real world in order to just get your foot in the door with a girl. So just remind yourself from time to time that those blockbuster movies have a world-class scriptwriter behind it, and that the scenes were well rehearsed and shot many times in order to strike those perfect romantic on-screen moments, complete with atmospheric background music. And if we can do that, forgive the movies for making us feel inadequate and forgive our own imperfect, sometimes clueless, cringing words when our moments arrive, then there are lessons to be learned from the movies that are not beyond our reach to emulate in the real world. At the time of thinking about this subject for the podcast, a movie was newly released onto Netflix called Love Again. Being a movie addict, I stopped what I was doing and sat down to watch. For your viewing and listening pleasure, I'm going to share a little clip from it and share two valuable lessons that this clip and the movie and many others have demonstrated, and that if you take to heart will dramatically improve your first contact moments. So, lesson number 1, kiss. No, not that kind of kiss. The keep it simple, stupid kind. There's some very good news you need to know about when it comes to making contact with someone for the first time. The magic is in the simplicity. Confidence radiates from simplicity in the absence of trying too hard. You might think that confidence comes from pushing the boundaries, saying something clever, edgy, or ironically cheesy. But the trying too hard vibe is what always comes through instead. The clean and genuine observation that speaks the truth is all you need for that initial opener. For example, I saw you from over there and thought you looked like someone I would like to talk to. Or let's say you're at a wedding. Their engagement lasted so long, I was beginning to think this day would never come. In our movie, Love Again, when the first contact moment comes, Rob, our main male lead, is standing at the bottom of some stairs at an opera when he sees Mira, the main female lead, walking down. She feels his attention on her as she comes down, and so begins their first contact moment. The full scene follows a formula of observation, question and insight. We'll join it for the first two because in isolation, they're really good examples of genuine, uncomplicated interaction. There are no spoilers in this clip, so feel free to tune in or out for the next minute if you do plan on seeing it, and I highly recommend that you do.
Do I know you?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, everyone starts as strangers. I don't know a lot of people.
Okay.
And we both like comfortable footwear.
No. Jordan 1s, I see. I'm more of an 11s kind of girl.
That's cool. I have those sneakers. I have sneakers at home.
Nice. I didn't wear mine because I didn't go with the stress, you know.
No.
So,
Did you like the show?
yes. Very much so, actually. And you?
Yeah, I thought it was so hopeful.
So, Rob's observation was that they both like comfortable footwear. It was a great icebreaker and they had a joke over it. Then he moved on to an opener question. Did you like the show? The perfect example of a relevant question that opens the question or a conversation up rather than trying to impress. It was only when they got to the insight moment when Rob shared his thoughts on the show. And that's where the movie scripting really took over and spontaneous real-world dialogue would have struggled to compete. Lesson number 2. Have a thing. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about becoming self-congruent, finding those things to like about yourself and allowing them to define you. In the movie, Rob loved music, and it made up a big part of his personality, defining his job, how he enjoyed his spare time, and what he liked to talk about. When Mira asked him in another scene what else he liked besides music, he didn't hesitate to say basketball. And when she asked why, he had a deep and insightful reason, which he expressed perfectly as though it was a life philosophy he followed every day. Again, movie scripting takes the scene to a place where spontaneous, real-world dialogue would struggle to follow. But being self-congruent means asking the question of yourself first and knowing why you like what it is that you like, or what drives you to do what you do, even if you can't express it in such perfect movie terms. To take a quote from another movie, We Bought a Zoo. Encouraging his son to approach and talk to a girl, Matt Damon's character says, all it takes is 21 seconds of insane courage. That's not a lot when you count up all the seconds that comprise your life. So let's summarize. In order to supercharge your first contact moments and first impressions with others, first work towards being a person that you like. Define your passions, understand your drivers, why you like what you like. What's your origin story? How did your passions begin? What value do you think it adds to you and to others? If you feel like you have little going on, you lack experiences and passions, interrogate your past and find your dormant interests. They will be there, as will your stories. Go out and start collecting new experiences, even if you're alone at first. Second, very much linked to the first, have a thing. In the movie, Rob's thing was music. Mira's thing when socializing was to ask would you rather question, such as, would you rather have a silent but uncontrollable gasp for your entire life, or loud uncontrollable sneezing? And of course, when Rob asks her why she's always asking these would you rather questions, she's all ready and prepared with a specific reason, because she's self-congruent. Third, If you're going to approach someone for whatever reason, in whatever context, do it with confidence. This means having a purpose for the interaction and not getting ahead of yourself with overthinking. Take Mel Robbins' advice if you like and count down from 5 to 1 and get yourself moving. Look good and straighten your posture as you do. These are easy wins. And if the other person is looking at you, don't look away. 4th, know what your superficial commonalities are that you can gain a quick connection with. Whenever you are, wherever you are, there will always be common links that brought you both there, such as at a wedding, attending an evening class at your local uni, at a dinner table on a cruise ship, in a coffee shop, and so on. Make an observation, follow up with an open question, and be self-congruent enough to have insights. Now 5th, remember the magic lies in the simplicity. Your observation, question, insight, opinions can be designed to try and impress another person, or they can be designed to simply move a conversation. Others can sense when you're trying too hard, and they may forgive it in the beginning if you have other qualities. But in reality, what you're doing is broadcasting a lack of confidence. Now finally, don't confuse a lack of confidence for nerves. In our movie clip, Rob displayed some superficial nerves and stumbled over a few of his words as I've done in this podcast. But he still projected confidence because he had a good self-image and knew that he had value. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, you can also now watch this same episode as a video. Just not while you're driving, okay? Take care, and until next time, keep self-developing and spread the word about this podcast. I'll be in your debt. By the way, what would you choose? Silent, uncontrollable gas or loud, uncontrollable sneezing? Until next time.